Hey everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Silly Billy, but you can call me Billy. Last time I did one of these videos, it went pretty well for the standards of my channel, so I thought, you know what, let's just do another one. Let's milk it until it's dry. Last time we looked at the characters of Generation 1, and today we are looking at both Generations 2 and 3. There's two reasons why I'm looking at both generations at once. For one, it leads to funny interactions with characters that really haven't shared screen time at all, and for the other, that both generations of casts are pretty small, so if I would do separate brackets for both of them, then those would also be pretty small, and I think this is more entertaining this way. Just like last time, this is a randomly generated bracket. I have no influence over who is where, and there are some free spaces to people because I couldn't fill the entire bracket. There's 27 people to cover in total, but 32 spaces, so some people, for example Rodney, get to move on to round 2 for free. In the end, we will be left with only one character, which I guess will be my favorite character of Generation 2 and 3. I have no clue which one it will be, but let's find out, right? Let's just kick this thing off and start off with the first bracket, which is ironically a team that did have a lot of interactions with each other. Joe versus Brick. And immediately we hit a very hard one, because both Joe and Brick are great characters, but in entirely different ways. Brick is super nice, and he is probably one of the most charismatic characters of the show ever. Well, I think Joe is a character that is severely underutilized by the show in the way that she has so much personality into one basically villain, but really Joe isn't a villain. Joe can be pushy, but really isn't a villain type. Oh, I should clarify, by the way, that I will be looking at every season that these characters compete in, so that means All-Stars will be considered for the Revenge of the Island cast, and in the special case of Leonard, he will be considered as he was in Ridonculous Race. I think Joe's interactions with Cameron are fantastic, and so are Joe's interactions with Lightning.
And I've never kissed a guy.
Yeah, it's cool, dude. Lightning don't judge.
This character is so versatile, and she is one of the most multi-dimensional characters of this show, I believe. I really think that. So then who do I go with? Rick being super likable, or Joe being very multi-dimensional. But then we also have to consider All-Stars, where all of that was just kind of dropped. I think I gotta owe it to Brick and just move him forward. But this is a really tough one. Okay, next up we have Leonard versus Scott. Okay, well, I would say Scott is the second greatest villain this show has ever seen, next to Heather, because Scott also gets the opportunity to be a comic relief character. He is both the threatening villain and the funny side character. The weird thing is, you like watching Scott do all those schemy things. Scott is terrible in Revenge of the Island, in the sense that he is terrible to the other contestants. But still, in that fight versus Fang, you want Scott to come out on top. That's crazy how they managed to do that in one season. And then we have Leonard. I think Leonard is pretty funny, but no way is Leonard funny enough to beat Scott. I'm actually quite curious how many of the Pahkitew Island characters will be able to beat the Revenge of the Island characters, because let's face it, the Pahkitew cast is severely lacking when it comes to everything. And the Revenge cast is just a fantastic cast. That's a great contribution to total drama in general. So I'm curious how many of these characters will be able to beat other characters here. Let's find out right here, because we have Sam versus Ella next. Okay, Ella is such a pure being, but Ella in the story is not great. Sam is also pretty pure. He is funny, he is likable, he's rootable. I think as a gamer, he appeals to a lot of people. I think personality speaking, Ella would win this, but Ella really has a problem when it comes to storylines and the way that they handle this character. Ella has two main storylines in her stay in Pahkitew Island, which are the sugar rivalry and the Prince Dave thing. And both are not finished. Both come out of nowhere. Both are dropped as soon as they are picked up. And it's degrading to the character. And unfortunately, that also plays into how much I like her. Ella, as a concept, is pretty funny, but that concept is never fully utilized in my opinion. Meanwhile, Sam gets a very funny arc with Dakota, and Sam and All-Stars didn't contribute a whole lot, but then I think that would cancel out against Ella and Pahkitew, and then we are left with Sam in Revenge, who is a great character. So I'm gonna move ahead Sam. Still no Pahkitew characters who made it through, so let's see if that's gonna change. Whoa, we got one! Rodney wins by having a free space, yes! Go Rodney, you are the legend. Sugar versus Dakota. This is not negotiable, this is Dakota. Sugar is probably the worst character of Pahkitew. Oh no, she's the second worst character of Pahkitew. You can probably guess who the worst character is. And Dakota is one of the greatest characters of Revenge. She is fantastic. Dakota works so good as an intern who learns the values of life and what it is to be working, and how she gets in that relationship with Sam, who is completely nothing like her, but still they click on so many fronts. What I also like about Dakota is that she is spoiled beyond belief, but still feels pretty human, right? She's not Taylor, who basically only complains to her mother and all she does is nag and be annoying and cry and I don't know. Dakota still feels like a human, only one that is very rich and famous, I should say. So Dakota, yeah, Dakota is fantastic. Then we have Anne Maria versus Mike. This is not a hard one, this is Mike. I really like Mike, and I'm gonna try, because I watched back my previous video with the brackets, and when I saw Harold continue, my main reason for why Harold would beat other people was I really like Harold. Harold is a fantastic character. I think Harold is fantastic. Harold is fantastic. Harold, I really like Harold, and I just really like Harold, and I don't want the same to happen with Mike, because I really like Mike. There I go again. I think Mike has a very great personality, or actually he has 6, which are all considered into one character. I'm not gonna do the separate characters as a separate ranking, but I think Mike is a very creative and original concept for a character, and I think they pull it off marvelously. I think Mike is so rootable, right? Mike has the biggest internal struggle of all the characters on the show, and I really like him. He's super endearing. I like his romance with Zoe. I even like the Mal part, because I think Mal as a villain is, while sometimes a little dumb, is a great way to go about this character. They may not handle it the best at all times, but I think a character that you know is one of the most hero characters of Total Drama secretly to be a supervillain. That's great. That's a great twist. I really like it. And I really like Mike. There we go again. So, and Anna Maria, I really don't like Anna Maria. I think she is, I want to say, the worst character of Revenge. And it's not that I don't enjoy Anna Maria. It's just that I don't enjoy Anna Maria, no. It's just that Anna Maria to me never really got to be a mainstay. She never took focus. She never was in the spotlight. I just didn't really enjoy Anne Maria's time on the show. I thought she was sassy, but not in a funny way. Like, Lashana is sassy in a funny way, and Anne Maria is just sassy, and that's it. And also, the hairspray thing, yeah, I don't really like it. Then we have Sky versus Sammy. Sammy. I mean, Sammy isn't really handled well by the show either, but at least she gets a satisfying arc. And Sky is basically Beth too, in that she floats to the end. You know the term Mary Sue? I don't think Total Drama really has Mary Sues, but Sky is the closest thing to a Mary Sue in the show.
Want some gum? That means the floating salmon. One pass each. Grab something good and make your way to...
Yeah! She's totally right. We're not gonna...
Dave, the team voted.
Sky cannot make mistakes. Sky is awesome. Sky is the best human being ever. And I didn't really enjoy it. I didn't buy into it. I don't think Sky is very enjoyable to watch. And her romance with Dave, well, that was just forced beyond belief. Like, Sky is a cheater, in my opinion. And that's not really an opinion to have, by the way. Sky is a cheater. Sky manipulates Dave and Keith, I think, although he didn't really have a say in it because he wasn't there. But Sky is manipulating Dave and keeping him on hook, and what Dave does is terrible. No, Sky isn't much better. So in that regard, they deserve each other. But Sky also deserves to get out of here as fast as she can now. Bye-bye. Jasmine gets a free space, and that's quite deserved. Jasmine is a great character. We'll see Jasmine versus Sammy in a second. Stacy versus Dave. Max versus Amy. This is not a hard one. Amy is one of the worst villains in Total Drama. Could have been very interesting, but wasn't. The storyline was dropped way too early. This should have been the secondary plotline to the entirety of Pahkitew Island and not something that gets resolved in 3 episodes. Amy is just voted off and then she returns and then both Amy and Sammy are voted off. So no, and Max is so enjoyable. Max is the funniest character in Pahkitew Island for sure and might be the funniest character in all of Total Drama. I really like Max, so he gets to move on to this round, that's for sure. Dawn gets a free space. Then we have Scarlett versus Cameron. Now, I'm a little biased here because I really want a Pahkitew Island character to beat a Revenge of the Island character. Just one. Anyone is fine, but I'm doubting about this one. Scarlett is... Let's break Scarlett up into 2 parts. The pre-twist Scarlett and the post-twist Scarlett. Basically, sane Scarlett and insane Scarlett. Pre-twist Scarlett is pretty forgettable. Like, she's kind of there. And I remember when I first watched Pahkitew Island that I had no idea what she was gonna do. It had to go somewhere. I had no idea what they were gonna do with Scarlett, except for that she was probably not going to win. And then post-twist Scarlett, that twist was... It was weird. I didn't really like it. I think Scarlett would have been a far more enjoyable villain if, well, for one, they made it clear earlier what she was gonna do. And looking back on it, it's pretty clear that she's gonna twist. But I would have liked a confession like, oh, I'm the baddie, a lot earlier. And I would have also enjoyed it if Scarlett got to be more the silent bad guy, while Max was the... Well, Max never really was a bad guy, but like, make Max be the voice of all your annoyance, and Scarlett be more manipulating on the background. Like, make stuff go wrong, make... people eventually vote off Max and then realize that, oh, this stuff that we've been dealing with is still continuing now that Max is gone. Ergo, Max didn't do this, so who of you is it? Like, make a sort whodunit story with Scarlett. I would have enjoyed that a lot more. And at that point, you can even keep it a secret that she is evil. That would have been a fun twist. But this way, I didn't really like it. I don't think that Scarlett needs to top Max in ridiculousness. Like, Max is already over the top as it is, and Max works because he is so over the top. And with Scarlett trying to one-up him in that ridiculousness, that's just not something that works. But then Cameron, I don't think he's the best finalist choice, but I can really understand why he's here. Like, Bubble Boy, of course, he is the guy you want to root for. And then in All-Stars, they didn't know what to do with him. But overall, I think Cameron beats out Scarlett because Cameron is way more fleshed out as a character. Like, Scarlett has nothing on Cameron. That's just not a competition, I think. Topher versus Lightning. This is a very interesting one because I really like Topher. I really, really like Topher. First off, Topher feels like a normal character, right? Pahkitew Island has a shocking lack of normal people, but Topher can be considered normal enough, right? And I was actually kind of rooting for Topher because I thought his looking up to Chris and getting rejected by him arc was kind of sad in a way, but then he wanted to overtake Chris and I thought it was pretty funny. And besides, Chris had at this point become a sociopath, so it was kind of deserved that somebody took him down a peg. But yeah, then we have Lightning. You know what? We're gonna do it. Lightning is very funny, but I don't think Lightning should have been in the finale. I think Lightning should have been eliminated a little earlier, maybe in the place of Joe. If Joe and Lightning would have switched positions, the season finale would have been so much better, right? Because I think Joe has more right to be in that finale than Lightning, as Lightning is more of the comic relief side character up until the point where they need a new villain because Scott is gone. And then suddenly he breaks out everything and he's like, oh, I'm gonna eliminate Zoe and I'm gonna take you down in the finale, bye-bye. I think if they would have swapped Lightning and Joe, that would have been so much better as a finale because Cameron has so much more chemistry with Joe. Then it would have been a personal finale as well. Lightning and Cameron, they don't really have anything in common at all. So I'm gonna do it. I am going to move Topher instead of Lightning. Guys, we did it. A Pahkitew Island character beat a Revenge of the Island character. I'm so proud. Now we have Sean versus B. Well, I just celebrated that we had a Pahkitew Island beat a Revenge of the Island character. And now we have it again. Because, I mean, do I really need to explain this? B doesn't say a single line. I think B is fine, but nowhere near enough to compete with other people. And especially when put against one of the best characters of Pahkitew Island. Yeah, this is a no-brainer. And so he gets to move on a free space. And that concludes round 1. Now we move on to round 2. We have 16 people in the running still, and we're going to narrow that down to 8 characters. I just did a quick check, and I'm actually kind of surprised because it's quite evenly distributed between the 2 casts. I would have imagined that Revenge of the Island would have taken over massively by now. There's 9 characters of Revenge and there's 7 characters of Pahkitew Island remaining. And yeah, that includes some free spaces like Beardo. But anyway, let's see what we can make of this in the next round. And that first battle is going to be Brick versus Scott. I don't know. Brick is likable and a comic relief. Scott is deliciously evil and a comic relief. I enjoy both of these characters a lot in every season that they compete. But for Brick, that is only the half season that he gets to be in. And for Scott, that's a full 2 seasons. So, I'm sorry Brick, but I think Scott is the better character out of you two. I really enjoy the fact that Scott is a comic relief character in All Stars. Because they have a literal team of villains. And there's not room to make every villain stand out as the villain, especially when your main villain is on the hero team in the form of Mike. So having Scott put aside that villain trope and focus more on his zaniness in Revenge, that's fantastic. That's so good. So yeah, Scott gets to move on. Then we have Sam versus Rodney. I enjoy Rodney's little arc in Pahkitew, but I don't do more than just enjoying it. So I think this is gonna be Sam's second victory over a Pahkitew member as he purges Rodney from this list. Then we have Dakota versus Mike. Oof. I think this is the point at which I need to acknowledge the fact that Dakota Zoid exists. Because I really like Mike. Oh, there I go again. I think Mike's multiple personality disorder is handled pretty well, if not always with dignity. And Dakota turning into Dakota Zoid, I think was maybe unnecessary. I enjoyed it at the time, but I don't think it was necessary for her character development. And Mike without multiple personalities is just Mike, and then he would be the blandest character ever. So I have to go with Mike because Dakota could have gone without Dakota Zoid, I think. Even though I really want to continue with Dakota, I also really want to continue with Mike. And then between these two, I'm sorry, but Dakota just loses out. And we have Sammy versus Jasmine. This is not a hard one either because both are really likable, both are really rootable, both are good contestants to take to the finale. Only for one of them, their story is finished about 5 episodes into Pahkitew Island, and the other is unrightfully robbed from that finale. So of course Jasmine has to continue because Sammy could have been a lot more, but isn't. Sammy's arc just ends in episode 5 without a very satisfying conclusion. And Jasmine, on the other hand, is vital to the Pahkitew Island story. She has the best romance in that season. Jasmine has the best arc. From all the Pahkitew Island characters, Jasmine would probably be the one that fits the best with the original casts. And Jasmine is just very likable. I really like Jasmine. There we go. I have a battle between 2 I really like characters, so that's gonna be an interesting one. Then we have Stacy versus Beardo. I am really glad with the matchups that Stacy has gotten so far because I really like moving Stacy forward. I think Stacy is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Stacy is a fantastic character because she does exactly what she is required from the story. She is probably one of the most annoying characters of the show, but that's exactly her point. Like, Stacy is annoying by design, not by accident. Stacy absolutely was the character of which you would thought, oh, please, anything but eliminate her right now. I will pay you money to eliminate Stacy right this second. And besides that, I think Stacy's very funny. I think her shtick with all the family members is hilarious. I think she has a great voice. Absolutely great. It fits the character perfectly. I really love her. And then Beardo, in my opinion, is a lesser version of Stacy. Because both are clearly designed to be the first boot characters. Like, Beardo had no shot of making it further than episode 1. And neither did Stacy. But I think Stacy is a far superior character when it comes to Beardo. So that is again another Pahkitew Island member that we scrapped from the table. Now we move on to Max versus Dawn. Whew. I am going to anger a lot of people right here, but I am going with Max. Oh, bye Max. Max? Get here. Yeah, I am going with Max. Dawn is a character that has a lot of potential left. There will be, I hope, a season where Dawn gets to return and then makes it to the final 5, where we fully get to capitalize on the potential that she has. Max, on the other hand, super funny. I love Max. I really do. I think he's so funny. If it's super funny or underutilized and rich in potential, then of course I'm gonna go with the character that has already gotten their required screen time. Cameron versus Topher. I like Topher, but I don't like Topher that much. But then again, I also don't like Cameron that much. And I think Cameron in All Stars is severely... They clearly didn't know what to do with Cameron in this season. They make him Cody too. And that's it. And meanwhile, Topher, I enjoy Topher's character. Like I said with Lightning, I think his arc from adoring to taking over Chris is super funny. Yeah, I think then Topher wins from Cameron because of All Stars. And then we have Zoe versus Sean. Sean is great, but Sean stands no chance when it comes to Zoe. Like, Zoe is in every regard a better character than Sean. And yeah, Zoe has rough moments in All Stars, but Zoe is so sweet. I really like Zoe. Oh no, there I go again. No, I adore Zoe. She's cute. She's funny. You like to root for her. She's strong. She can fend for herself. Zoe has everything. So Zoe's the complete package. Round 3, the quarterfinals. Scott versus Sam. Okay. I think Sam got to continue because of the matchups he's gotten so far. Meanwhile, Scott has battled Brick, who has battled Joe, and Leonard. Let's not forget about Leonard. Huzzah! But those 3 characters, great. Every single one of them is great in that season. And Sam is alright. I mean, I really like Sam in Revenge of the Island, and I kind of enjoy Sam in All Stars, although I think he shouldn't have been in that season. Wow, what a hot take. Yeah, I know. Sam shouldn't have been in All Stars. Who could have imagined that opinion? I think I'm the first person ever to say that. I would like to bet money on the fact that I am the first person to ever say that. I will give every single one of you watching right now minus 100 euros if that statement is correct. So yes, Scott has to move ahead. Scott is a... Stop removing the people I want to put ahead. No, Scott is a fantastic character. Scott is a fantastic villain. Scott is a fantastic funny person. Sam is alright. Moving on, Mike versus Jasmine. I think we're gonna kill off a Pahkitew Island character again. Because... I'm gonna say it. I really like Mike. I also really like Jasmine. Yeah, of course. But Mike is... Well, how many times can you express that you really like somebody? And how many different ways can you say that you like their multiple characters? That you like the way that their story is handled? That you think they should... Oh, I have one. He should have made a lot farther in Revenge of the Island. And I was absolutely shocked when he got eliminated. Because I thought for sure he was going to win. I thought for sure. And that's probably the reason why I was rooting for him to win All Stars. And Jasmine, fantastic character in Pahkitew Island. But again, it's Pahkitew Island, and Jasmine also has her flaws. She's perfectly willing to help Sammy and all that, but as soon as Amy returns, Jasmine doesn't say a word about the entire situation. Yeah, Jasmine also has her flaws. She isn't perfect, and neither is Mike, but then I'm gonna go with Mike. Stacy versus Max. Oh, I hate to do this, but I'm not gonna continue with Stacy. I think you watching at home are very happy that Stacy is finally off this tier list and that she should have probably been beaten by Dave. But lol, no, it's Dave. But anyway, I really, really, really want to take Stacy to the quarterfinals, to the semifinals actually. But I can't because of how much I love Max. Stacy doesn't get the development in order to warrant this spot. Like, as much as I adore her joke and her episode, she has 1 episode. 2 if you count the finale, but 1 episode. Max has almost an entire season, and I adore both of these characters a lot. So it has to be Max. Then I'm sorry, Stacy. This is not goodbye. But it is a parting that I don't want to make. No! Okay, Topher versus Zoe. Yeah, this is not a hard one either. I don't know how Topher survived 2 rounds. Well, I do, because I did it. But still, he isn't gonna beat Zoe. And just like that, we are down to the semi-finals. Congratulations, by the way, to Max for being the last remaining Pahkitew Island member. Let's see who of these 4 absolutely great characters can move on to the next round. We have Scott versus Mike. Here we go again. Last time I had to make a hard decision like this was with Heather versus Harold. I think I like Mike more, but I think Scott is a better character. So out of these 2, I have a hard time deciding who is who. But if I then go back to the question of, Billy, who is your favorite character? I would never consider Scott, but I would consider Mike. So Mike is going to beat Scott in this round. And then on the other hand, we have Max versus Zoe. What is this? Max versus Zoe. These 2 are not comparable. These 2 almost live in an entirely different realm from one another. Zoe is far more of a serious contender for this list than Max, but I just love Max and his dumb humor. Do I go with character development here? But then again, Zoe did get a pretty meh arc in All Stars. But then Max is never a serious contender and is only there for the giggles, but still it really works.
Feel the heat of my death ray. My bed! The ants have started a fire somehow.
So who of these do I let continue? As much as I like Max, his story is super abruptly ended. If his positioning would have stayed the same, but they would have given him an episode on his own without Scarlet, I might have had even a harder time deciding this, because Max without Scarlet is something that the show never presents us with. But Max doesn't need Scarlet to be funny. Because his story is dropped so abruptly without any satisfying arc, like they just go, yeah, I'm done with evil for now. And then he's gone. He's eliminated and bye-bye, see you never. I have to go with Zoe, because she does get 2 fully developed arcs. Sadly, I have to say goodbye to Max in this. And then we have our finals, which is Mike versus Zoe. And you will probably be screaming at me right now, because I don't know a lot of people that still like Zoe, let alone Mike. And I don't know a lot of people that enjoyed the All-Stars finale, but I sure did. I will die on a hill defending Mike and Zoe. And I do, right now, because you will probably cancel me into the ground after this. So it's been fun, guys. This is gonna be a very controversial opinion, but I'm gonna go with Mike. I think Mike has a great arc throughout both of his seasons, and I thought his inner struggle with Mal was well handled. I really think that. I think Mike having to fight through his own mind, getting to cooperate with the characters inside his head that he never really fully got along with, ultimately defeating his worst self, that's powerful stuff. I really think that's a good storyline. You're most likely not gonna agree with my list here. You would have probably got 2 other characters here. Let me guess. Jasmine on the left and Dawn on the right. Or Sean. Dawn or Sean. Something that ends in on the right. And you would be legitimate to have that. But I'm gonna say it. Prepare. I really like Mike. So we have ourselves a winner. It's Mike. Yay! But that's going to be it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. One favor I have of you is, if you haven't subscribed to the Silly Billy channel yet, please do so. If you like what you see, I promise there's a lot more coming, but it makes me feel happy. That's really the only reason I'm asking you this, because every time I get a notification of blah blah has subscribed to your channel, I just get a little tingle inside. It's so rewarding as a content creator to see people appreciate your work. So if you did like my work and you want to show me that you did, please consider leaving a subscribe. If you do decide to subscribe, thank you very much. If you don't, that's okay too. I'm gonna keep making content anyway, so it's not like it's gonna stop anytime soon. If you're a fan of Minecraft, please check out my series Tales of the Firelands, which I think you will greatly enjoy. There's a lot of humor, there's a lot of mystery, there's a lot of depth, and there's a lot of duck. I mean, that's the perfect combination of things, right? Again, thank you for watching. This has been Silly Billy, and remember that I really, really like Mike. Adoop!